We're back at the Wither Skelly farm because that each day that goes by that I don't have an actual Wither Skelly farm here, I'm a little scared that I'm going to run out of bone meal and coal. Now, not only do I have an absolute ton of digging ahead of me, but I have an entire gigaton of black concrete that I need to fill the walls with and the roof with if we want to make our own version of Gotham City. My estimate's going to be about 75 shulker boxes of black concrete, but I'm probably going to need a heck of a lot more, which might not seem like a whole lot of black concrete, but when you don't duplicate TNT in your world like I don't, it's a little bit of an issue. And that's not to mention all of the sand and all the gravel that I'm going to need in order to craft all the black concrete. And of course, all of the black dye that we're going to need in order to craft all that black concrete is going to be a little bit taxing. As I mentioned before, the big one right now is going to be bone blocks, which looks very scary. Now, not only do I build with bone blocks and coal blocks, but did I mention that I actually use it for my auto smelter over here? I use coal blocks in order to fuel this entire auto smelter, and every single day that I cook something up in here, I fear I'm gonna run out of stuff. Now, I do have a bamboo farm, which isn't terrible, but I don't think it's that great of a fuel source unless you have it automatically filtering into your actual furnace array. I do have a kelp farm, which does okay, but it's nothing too crazy by any means. And over here, I actually do have a lava farm where I've been bucketing up a bunch of lava. So I do have options for if my smelter runs out of coal, but I think it's time that we get into digging because I need to make this Wither Skelly farm happen sooner than later. Well, I've done a little bit more digging and I have come up with a system now. So I've got all of this done and then I've moved my way all the way over here. But as you guys may have noticed, I have sectioned off the entirety of the Wither Skeleton dig into sections, and they're all exactly 4 chunks, which takes me about a half an hour to completely dig out. So looking at each chunk here, we're just going to ignore the gas. It is 4 per. Let me try to fly away from this guy so he doesn't harass us. I've managed to get all of this done, which is super nice. But looking at what we have left, I've got about 22 more days left of the dig. And I think I'm just under... So 2 of these would be 1 hour. So I think I'm upwards to around 16 hours right now. As for the walls, well, that's a completely different story because I need about 100 boxes just to be able to complete all the walls in the ceiling here. That's probably going to take some time, especially because I am taking on a city expansion project. But I am currently sitting at around 10 shulker boxes of black concrete. Filling up the entire auto sorter here, filled with black concrete, and that still isn't even close to what we need. Which raises a whole nother issue. My gunpowder reserves have been the lowest they've ever been in the entirety of this game because I've been making so much TNT from my concrete machine. Because remember, I don't duplicate TNT in this series, so I have to basically craft up all of the TNT made to make all the concrete that I have to do for the entire walls of the wither skeleton perimeter. I have made myself a massive surplus of TNT, and I'm hoping that this actually takes us up to a point where I don't actually run out. It's a ongoing process, to say the least. So with that being said, I just wanted to give you guys a quick little update on how the dig is going, because I'm about to go back to the dig. I just don't know how much more recording of the dig I am going to do, mainly because, well, to be perfectly honest with you guys, there's only so many different angles I can give you guys without it getting boring to watch, because it is a pretty boring, mundane task. So I'm gonna go back to it. But what I will do is I will show you guys a quick little stats update. So we are upwards to 3.2 million netherrack so far, which is pretty nice. I'm hoping to get this one into the millions here next. I've actually been getting an absolute ton of gravel through the wither skeleton dig, which has been very handy. And of course, our basalt is almost at 1.1 million. So I'm actually very interested to see what those stats are looking like once we're completed the dig. I have good news and I've got bad news. The good news is the dig is done. I completed the entirety of this whole dig on a live stream over on my Twitch channel. If you guys don't follow my Twitch, this is basically where all the magic happens. The bad news is, well, in the process to updating to 1.21.4, well, let's just say I lost a little bit of the footage, but I also have a bunch of the footage obviously to show you guys. But yeah, there's a little bit of the footage that did kind of get nuked through the update because of replay mod not liking some of my mods being a little bit different from what they used to be. One of them being this mod right here. This is the, well, this is actually the culprit right here. This is the world map or whatever it is, but it kind of gives you a little bit of a bird's eye view of what the perimeter is looking like. And I can tell you this much, I'm extremely excited to take on this build. I've been slabbing like nobody's business, but let's go over the burning question here. Where did we end off on all of our statistics? So let's bring it up and let's take a look. We ended off at 3.6 million netherrack, 1.1 million basalt. Going on down here a little bit, almost 300,000 blackstone. And I think, yeah, we got 100k soul sand and 89,000 soul soil. Another big one I think would be magma cubes. So let's scroll on down to see if we could find ourselves some magma cubes. Where you at? Because these guys were absolute menaces. So I ended off at 26,144 magma cubes, which is nuts. So I'm going to continue on and slab out the rest of the entire perimeter. I've got some extremely overpowered farms that we're going to take a look at here very, very soon. One of them is going to be the Wiske Train. That's going to give us over 2,000 wither skulls an hour. It is an absolute beast of a farm, and my friend helped design it. And just for a frame of reference, I have officially placed over 135,000 blackstone slabs. And don't worry, those beacons will definitely change. But what I will say is I started this dig in this hole over here 4 years ago, back when I had my shulker boxes, my chest, my ender chest, and everything. I lived out of this hole. And I used to look over top of this perimeter and kind of see it for all the progress that it used to have. And it being completely dug out is such a crazy feeling that I'm so looking forward to building our own version of Gotham City with a little bit of a Arcane twist. Think about Gothic cyberpunk. But without further ado, I got some more slabbing to do. dude, we got the entire thing fully slabbed out, and I'll tell you this much, it is such a satisfying feeling knowing that this entire area is now basically 100% spawn proof. Besides the bits and pieces that I need to clean up along the way, I also need to move these beacons, and of course our obsidian blocks up there, which is going to mark out where the farm is going to be located. So I think it's about time that we take on the Wiske Train. But quickly before we do that, I want to run through all of the loot that we've gathered. So we have all this ancient debris here that I'm going to go smelt up. And of course, over here, we have all the nether gold that we got to smelt up as well. I'm going to make myself a small miniature netherite beacon. And I, of course, left the final netherrack to be mined inside of this entire perimeter here to be memorialized. So I'm going to go name tag that as well and put it up on the wall. And of course, that's going to be this wall over here on my ship, because right beside here, we have the very first ancient debris I ever got from that farm. So of course, I'm thinking the last one right next to it is going to be absolutely perfect. I wish I had the date on this guy. This is also the last end stone from mining out my entire end island, which almost got me over 900,000 end stone blocks mined. And as we wait for all this to cook up inside our smelting array, for those of you guys who want to know, I officially hit over 33,000 experience basically banked in our furnace array throughout the year of 2024. Just a little tidbit of information that I thought you guys would find interesting, but I'm going to be standing here for like a little while these furnaces begin to cook up all of the gold and of course all of the netherite scrap. And then we'll build ourselves a beacon. Well, I don't think I've ever had this much gold in my entire life. It's as long as I've ever had this hardcore world. This is probably the most amount of gold that I've had forever, because I don't AFK the gold farm, and honestly, probably the most amount of netherite scrap that I have ever had. But anyways, without further ado, let's make this into netherite ingots like so. And of course, we're going to be making those 9 netherite blocks. And I know there are a few of you guys who are just laughing at me, knowing that I am very poor when it comes to gold. Well, I'll have you know that things are very different when you don't AFK. And I have to get gold a little bit differently than the way that you guys would get gold. So, yeah. My netherite beacon may be smaller than yours, but at least I could say I know. Oh my gosh. Anyways, let's build this farm. First things first, I don't want to have any blazes spawning in here, so I'm just going to spawn proof these 2 blocks here. Oh, I missed. Oh, I am falling to my death. Anyways, back at it. We're just going to quickly just spawn proof that, because I don't want to have any blazes. Now I need to kind of figure out exactly where I want to put the actual wither skelly farm. So I'm going to be doing some testing here, because I don't know what the heck I'm doing. So this is exactly what I need to see. I need to see wither skeletons spawning on each and every single one of these platforms. Now I know that I see the wither skeletons spawning in here. I've narrowed it down to where one of my cross sections are, where I'll fill everything completely out and fill it with wither roses. But I definitely don't want to be filling out the platform with a bunch of netherrack, especially when I don't have enough wither roses to fill out the platform. The reason for that is, well, we don't want to have a bunch of gas and a bunch of other things taking up the spawnable spots, because that's where things are going to get extremely dangerous. So I'm going to be over here and I'm going to be farming up a bunch of wither roses. Dude. Also, did they make Enderman's eyes purple again? Because I swear they made them white and then they made them purple again. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know if I'm just tripping out, but I feel like that's got to be different. So an important thing to note is, as I'm filling in the spawnable spots of the wither skelly farm, I'm within 24 blocks of a wither skelly or a blaze or a gas being able to spawn, which is why you don't see a bunch of mobs basically spawning in the platforms as I'm going about this. I'm going to periodically place down wither roses as I work my way up, but I think this is probably the smartest way to set up the farm, and you guys should do so as well. So this is basically what you want each level to look like, the netherrack, and of course the wither rose. But why do I choose to go with netherrack? Because of course we have a couple options when it comes down to which blocks wither skeletons can spawn on. They can spawn on the nether bricks, they can spawn on the netherrack, our soul sand, and our soul soil over here. Soul sand is out of the question because it's going to impede the movement of the wither skelly, making them a little bit slower. I don't like the soul soil because the wither rose kind of blends in a little bit, which is nice for the aesthetics, but not so nice when you're trying to make sure that the whole thing is 100% spawn proof, which is why I really like the netherrack, because I can actually see exactly which blocks have been spawn proof and which blocks haven't. And of course, I'm unable to place a wither rose on the nether brick. And you can already see here with just the 2 spawning platforms here, I'm going to be putting an additional one up here, and I'm going to be finding some more spawnable spaces for wither skellies that it is, of course, actually popping off. So imagine that entirety of all those wither skeletons being removed from the mob cap, freeing up the mob cap for more and more wither skeletons to basically spawn in as the minecarts come by and pick them up. This farm is going to be absolutely insane. And I've already used up all my wither roses and we're just getting started. And as you guys can already tell, what happens exactly when you don't have enough wither roses to take up the space, we start having a bunch of other mobs that are able to spawn in here. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be placing down some black stone pressure plates just to stop other mobs from being able to spawn while I set up all the additional spawning platforms. And no, gas cannot spawn in the middle of the air. I don't know who told you that, but they need to have a block to spawn on. I get asked that quite frequently in my Twitch chat. And now that we have all the wither roses in place, and I've also got the skirt around the farm, this is actually incredibly important just to make your farm ever so slightly more efficient. For those of you guys who don't know, it basically really encourages pack spawning. So you see how the wither skeletons are spawning in packs of like 3 to 4. Make sure you do this on all your farms. So the next thing I need to do right now is I need to actually start setting up a little bit of a guide, because I want to start filtering these guys into. We're going to be picking them up in the minecart. So I'm going to be plopping down some blackstone slabs, some iron golems, and I'm going to have to probably change where this beacon was located because, of course, naturally, my beacons are always in the way. So I'm going to start figuring out exactly what configuration would be the best way to pick these guys up. And I'll see you guys in just a moment. You know what? On second thought, I'm pretty much just going to drop these guys down on every single platform that I could possibly do so. That way, no matter what, no matter where they spawn, I'll be able to get them off the platform as fast as possible and into the kill chamber so more wither skellies can spawn in, making this place a little bit more efficient. So I'm just going to go ahead and start doing that now. And of course, we don't want to get too far away from here because I definitely don't want to have blazes or worst off gas spawning on this platform. So I don't want to get ahead of myself. I just want to kind of do this part in sections. Now, ultimately, these slabs are here to stop these wither skeletons from being able to make their way across, but every once in a while, they'll actually be able to jump across. So we're going to be placing our trapdoors, which are totally flammable. So let's hope that we don't have any more blazes from here on out. But ultimately, if I press F3B here, I could still make a line of sight with the wither skellies, so this shouldn't inhibit their line of sight in any way, shape, or form. So now I've got the configuration set up for how we're going to have their iron golem. I've knocked out one block here. This block right here that we've knocked out is just going to stop the wither skeletons from bunching up and kind of give them a way to like kind of pathfind across. Everything's all buttoned up, and then right here will be where our iron golem goes, but I don't think we'll be able to actually spawn him in because there's blocks attached. So now that we've got that set up, we can do this the whole way around. Before we start moving on to these layers down below and start doing the same thing, I want to make sure that this works first. Now that we have our golems in place, you'll notice that our wither skeletons are now walking to the edge, but they're not falling down. And that's because I need to come in here now and I need to place down these trap doors so they feel like they can walk there, but they can't. So we're going to start doing that next. And ultimately, I think the absolute best way and safest way to do this is going to be from the bottom. That way we don't get smacked by any of the wither skellies from the top. But more importantly, I don't want to get smacked by the iron golems by accident, because those guys do pack a wallop. All right, that's all the iron golems in place, all the platforms in place, the skirts in place, and you guys will also notice that I've got the honey blocks in place now. The honey blocks are basically going to stop the wither skeletons from being able to jump. And then, of course, I have the trapdoors right in behind them to kind of push them over towards where I'm going to have my minecarts collect them and feed them into the kill chamber, which I think the kill chamber is going to go right around this region. So I've kind of mapped out some blocks here. I don't know. Hopefully it's a good height, but at least it gives me a little bit of a direction to go with it. Look at all those wither skellies. I can't wait to set this up. But anyways, I guess I'm going to start taking on the part of the build that I wasn't really looking forward to. And the first thing that we're going to need is a ton of powered rails. So we're going to go ahead and start crafting up those. And let's hope that this is enough to get us started today. Welcome to my living nightmare. Spaghetti farm. Yeah, this was I don't even know if this is going to work. I haven't even tested this out yet. I'm just trying to do my best to make sure everything was linked up properly. Of course, I got to get rid of all the nether rack up here. I think I have all of the rails powered and all of the wither skellies that are going to be able to get picked up by the rails. I might have to do a little bit of fine tuning from here on out, to say the least. But I think I am at a point right now where I can start loading up the carts. I have my right here. This is going to be the dispenser for all the minecarts. So all this is going to be filled with minecarts, the whole thing. And then we're going to be dispensing this line, and the two other lines on the other side. Up here, we're going to be bringing in the wither skelly. So this is kind of like the input system. This is where they fall off from this activator rail right here. And then they should hopefully land right here and right here, where I can stand on that pressure plate and be swiping away at the armor stand. But one major issue that I have right now is, well, the fact that my sword literally has fire aspect, and fire aspect mixed with armor stands doesn't work. So I'm going to be taking one of these guys right here, because we're going to have to make ourselves a new sword for this farm. Now, in order to craft the perfect sword for our wither skeleton farm, there are a few things that we need to know. Obviously, we're going to need unbreaking, sweeping edge, which is very important for this farm, looting, obviously. We're going to have mending, because you can't, and probably the most important enchantment of all, Bane of Arthropods. I'm just kidding. We're going to be going with Smite 5. Relax. Don't come after me in my bloodline. That was a joke. Anyways, let's start putting these things together and lose all my levels. And now that we have our perfect sword here, we are able to upgrade it up to netherite. Now, time for the scary part. Testing the farm. But before we get started, I'm not naive and I wasn't born yesterday. I know that I'm putting myself at harm's risk using this farm right here, so I have blown up the whole backside of this build. That way, if things go catastrophically wrong here, I can easily escape. I even got a notch apple in my hotbar. I'm wearing my chest plates. Hardcore is all about knowing your risks and knowing how to manage them. You want to mitigate the amount of percentage that you can die in a side of a farm. So let's just hope that this actually works now. So here we go. Okay, well, that wasn't a bad test, but as you guys can see, I've got a little bit of bunching up on the carts right here. So I'm gonna have to collect all these carts and kind of figure out what the heck happened here. Damn. I will say there is a lot of carts bunched up here. So the danger of entity cramming is quite high here. So yeah, be careful. I feel like I know what the problem was. I think that what happened when the minecart was coming through here, a piglin was on the tracks and slew down the minecart. I don't know if that's 100% correct, but I'll be making sure that all of these are perfectly lit up as well, and hope that I'm right on this. And then we're gonna have to do test 2. So with all the netherrack out the way, and I think all of the rails powered up, this is my only other thing that I'm feeling is like kind of stopping us right now. So I wonder if maybe placing a glass block right there, and if I can get up in here, also placing this guy, and if we can power right behind the glass block, maybe now when wither skellies come through, they'll actually phase to the glass block, if that's an issue. But everything else is looking good. I think it's time we start up another test run. It's gonna quickly turn this way down because I learned my lesson the last time. Okay, so I'm a bit of an idiot, but I also figured it out. Yeah, this is definitely getting bunched up here. Over there with that rail line, well, I'm just stupid because I am not making this turn right here correctly. I'm just kind of throwing carts up here and they're just stopping right here. I need to flip that around. And there. Now that should go the proper way. Time to address this situation now. Well, I didn't want to have to admit it, but I may have done this this corner it's kind of stupid like too. So I think I've fixed the flow. Yeah. All right. Third time's the charm. Getting real tired of picking up minecarts. I don't know what happened there. So I've narrowed it down. If I place down a cart, bounces up, collects the wither skelly, and now the minecart continues going. So what was going on here was having the glass butt up against this rail right here has been slowing down my entire system, which means that that side hasn't been working for the exact same reason. So let's fix that side, and fourth time's the charm. All right, well, obviously that worked. Finally, I got real tired of picking up minecarts, but it's looking like the resources are being launched out of here all the way right here, and it's extremely consistent with landing in this one particular zone. So I've kind of blocked off this area here, and I'm thinking about using allays to basically come by and sort up all the materials here and then sort them in a big storage room that I'll have back here eventually. I don't know if that's going to be a mistake, but I think it could be really fun. So of course, in order to get started with the allay storage room, I'm going to need allays. So I brought 2 of them over here. I set up a jukebox. I have the amethyst shards, a crater disc. This is my favorite disc in the game. Let me know what your guys' favorite disc is, but this one's definitely my favorite. And then I got some leads just in case. Got myself a quick and dirty like little thing right here where I'm just going to basically start setting up a very simple storage room for the time being, just to sort items, because I will be putting my time and effort into this a lot more when I actually get to start building the city. Right now, I just want to have something functional for now. Starting to have flashbacks from when these guys first came out. Starting to remember why nobody ever uses these guys. Just trying to get them inside this stupid ugly glass box right here, and well, it's been a nightmare. But anyways, I'm gonna try to get these guys in here, and then hopefully I'll have a progress update for you guys. Okay, I have them in here, but here's the problem. Every time I let them go, yeah, they immediately fly down there, but I think I've blocked off that area. I'm just hoping that once I fire up the machine, they won't be able to get out still. So here goes test number 1. Well, I think it's safe to say these guys suck. pretty much left all the loot right there. All the allays got out somehow. I'm gonna have to look at the replay mod footage and see how exactly that happened, because yeah. Anyways, I don't know what I'm gonna do here. All right, so allays aren't gonna work. Did a lot of research on them, but you may have noticed behind me, I ended up just building the redstone item sorter that comes with the farm itself. It wasn't even that difficult. It was actually pretty straightforward. Just had to make sure everything was all lined up properly. I'll show you guys some replay mod footage of it now. So obviously, looking at the replay mod footage, you can see exactly what's going on. Items are being pushed up against this chest right here, drop down, getting pushed by that slime block right here. All the swords get burned in that fire. Right here, this is where my wither skulls get picked up. And then we basically just have item filters for the coal. This is all coal. And then over here, this is like pretty much all bones. And it just basically shulker loads everything. So you can see the little shulker box that I got going on over there. I got to figure out exactly where all these mobs are spawning, so I'll have to do a little bit of spawn proofing. But you'll notice that I've also ran a little bit of a test, so you guys can see I've got one shulker box full of coal right there. I've been trying to stress test it. Not that I don't trust anything. I just don't trust my redstone. I was having a weird issue where like my wither skulls were stopping right here, but like my hopper was going into there. So I was like, huh? And then I had to like replace the hopper, plop it back, and then now everything's like kind of collecting up again. So pretty good. Now, if only I could see where the heck these zombified piglins keep spawning at. I put a piece of glass above the soul fire because I'm pretty sure they can spawn in there. Other than that, are they spawning like right in that little pocket right there? Maybe. Let me see if I can. Yay! Can I fly up in there? Hold on. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be tough. Yeah, I didn't think so. Ah, they're spawning on top of these pistons right here. I wonder if that would just be as easy as plopping a glass block and calling it a day. I don't see where a glass block would interfere with any of that. So let's go ahead and start doing that. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I got all the spawnable spaces in there. The glass should not interfere. If I see one more piglin spawn in here, I'm literally going to pull up my hair. So I guess it's a good thing to say I don't have any hair, so I don't have to worry about that. But what I will have to worry about is the fact that we will have to build ourselves a brand new gold farm. I don't know if you guys saw the change coming up with the gold and how piglins are going to be different. This farm will still work, except I don't AFK and I want something that's with a little bit more oomph. You know what I mean? So as I said earlier in today's episode, I would love to be building a gold farm here. Although there is one potential change that kind of freaks me out is the minecart change. I don't know how that's going to interact with that farm over there, but I think that gold farm with the exact same concept as the wither skelly farm going right here would be absolutely amazing. Maybe making it like a little bit of a smaller footprint. This is actually fairly big, but that's because I have 3 crossroads in here. I'm thinking we could do like maybe a little bit more like straight up kind of deal and maybe just have like one cart system basically feeding into this whole deal. I don't know how we're going to go about that. I'll also have to figure out a way to actually turn off the wither skellies from being able to spawn, opening up the mob cap so that the piglins are able to spawn. So we'll need to do that. But I think before I tackle the gold farm, I think we're going to have to tackle this bad boy over here, which is, of course, the frog life farm. Now, I know it's a lot more difficult to be building all these farms in the actual nether, so a few of you guys are probably wondering, why am I veering away from the nether roof? And well, that's actually for a couple reasons. One, it's really ugly up here. But 2, longevity of this world. So I don't know what's going to happen with the future of Minecraft. Minecraft seems to be changing things all the time, but my biggest fear is if I commit to building a bunch of stuff on the nether roof is that one day we won't be able to actually build on the nether roof, and they'll get rid of this ability, and everything that I have above the nether roof will be completely destroyed. So I'm thinking longevity of the world, just in case something happens, I am properly prepared for that and I won't be affected by that change. Not saying it is going to change, but I'm saying if it does, I'm good. But not only that, but I think like with 40,000 days in a hardcore world, I should be building in the actual nether, you know what I mean? Which is why I've been building my entire nether hub inside of the nether. This thing sprawls for thousands and thousands and thousands of blocks. I couldn't even explain to you guys how big this thing is outside of the compass. Actually, you know what? What if I did this? Hold on, that's the wrong button. This is the nether hub. So as you guys can see, this is the main nether hub itself right here. It's fairly big, and I plan to expand off each and every single one of these areas. But you'll notice that every area does go to a specific part of my world, and everything can be found inside the actual nether, which I absolutely love. Obviously, there are some risks involved with that as well. But like I said, I don't really have an excuse to not be taking on these risks. So hopefully that answers any questions that you guys may have. But I want to share with you guys a little bit of a view. Years and years ago, 4 years ago, about 4 years ago, I stood up here with a dream of digging out a perimeter from bedrock to bedrock. A few of those years, I built up a wither skeleton farm years ago, and I went all the way down to lava. And let's just say this much. I'm extremely happy with the fact that I decided to get rid of the lava, bring it all the way down to bedrock, get rid of everything that I had previously built in here, because I did build it a very long time ago, and I felt as if I could do a much better job. But with all that being said, there is a lot of work that needs to be done within this perimeter. Obviously, I needed to be doing all the black concrete on all of the walls and the ceiling, of course, which is going to take a lot of time, to say the least. But what I will say is we now officially have a wither skelly farm up and running, which means I don't have to worry about coal or bones. I wasn't worried about the skulls because I have a lot of surplus from the last farm, but you know what? I think we done did good this episode. So hopefully you guys enjoyed today's episode, because I think that's all the time that we're gonna have for today. If you guys haven't done so already, please leave a like. Obviously, this episode took a massive amount of work. I think it was about 6 months or so since the last episode. Maybe 3 months. I can't remember exactly what the number was. I just know that it took a really long time to get this episode out because we did a lot of digging. And I did a lot of stuff I wasn't very comfortable with, which is that farm in particular. Took a lot of brain work and stuff like that. So if you guys please leave a like on the video, I would greatly appreciate it. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe if you guys want to see some more. I have a lot of other massive scale projects that you guys might be interested in. But until next time, I hope you guys have yourself a wonderful day. And YouTube thinks you guys should check out this video.